We taught stones to think, and now a global war could start over them. It sounds like a line from a sci-fi movie, but this is literally what happened to our world. Right now, ChatGPT, Tesla's self-driving cars, and your smartphone are all running thanks to a piece of ordinary rock that sat underground for millions of years. And the name of this material is silicon. The craziest part of this story? The Earth is absolutely packed with it. It's the second most abundant element on the planet. It is literally lying right beneath your feet on any playground or beach. But if that's true, why are the world's superpowers willing to spend billions of dollars and trigger economic wars just to control a regular gray rock? To answer that, we have to trace the journey from a lifeless boulder to the brain of modern artificial intelligence. Let's look at how a regular rock turns into a device capable of solving the world's most complex problems. This gray piece of quartz witnessed the dinosaurs and the shifting of continents, just sitting there as part of the landscape. But then it gets blasted out of a quarry, crushed into pieces, and shipped to a factory. And that's where the real madness begins. First, they turn it into metal. They melt it in massive furnaces that are hotter than actual volcanic lava. Then they turn this metal into gas. And finally, they turn that gas back into a solid crystal. Stop, let's do that again. We take a piece of a mountain, turn it into metal, then into gas, then back into a crystal. And only after that, it starts to think. It sounds absurd, but that is exactly how microprocessors are born. The end product is a giant mirror-like cylinder of ultra-pure silicon. And it has to be so flawless that a single stray dust particle or a microscopic speck of dirt can ruin months of work. Everything would literally burn to a crisp under the very first computational load. To give you an idea of the sheer scale of this madness, a single modern chip fabrication plant consumes as much water as an entire town of 33,000 homes in a single day. And all that manufacturing water must be 10 times purer than the bottled water you're drinking right now. Otherwise, it's instant garbage. This perfect material is then laser cut into razor-thin, mirror-like wafers. Next, using ultraviolet light, billions of microscopic switches, transistors, are etched onto them. Picture the scale. If just one of those switches were the size of a human being, the entire processor would be the size of a whole continent. That is how microscopic this level is. And just like that, what used to be dirt under your feet is now beating humans at chess and generating videos on your command. But here is the strangest part. The places where this magical raw material is mined aren't in America. And they aren't in Taiwan either. The global battle for control is quietly shifting to completely different regions. For instance, into the mountains of Central Asia. But why there? Let's answer a simple question. Why can't we just make a processor out of regular sand from a beach in Dubai? Because for modern microchips, that sand is pure garbage. It contains far too much iron, aluminum, and titanium. If you tried to purify ordinary roadside gravel to the required standard, it would consume so much energy and money that your smartphone would cost as much as a fighter jet. The economics of the project would simply suffocate. High-tech factories need a flawless, clean start. They need vein quartz. And this is where nature hands us a massive gift. Millions of years ago, the planet acted as a giant geological reactor. Under crushing pressure and cosmic temperatures, it squeezed all the impurities out of the rock, leaving behind ultra-pure, brilliant white veins inside the mountains. There are only a handful of such places on Earth. It is a super rare, highly strategic commodity. No right material means no chips. No chips means our entire digital civilization instantly turns into a pile of useless plastic. And this creates a very bizarre situation. The smartest machine on the planet depends on a natural mineral, but the vast majority of this raw material currently flows through a single country, China. The US designs the incredibly complex chip architectures. Taiwan manufactures them in its advanced megafactories. But China controls nearly all the primary processing plants where this rock is dug up and purified. They read the rule book of this game 30 years ago, while the rest of the world was busy building fancy offices and investing in apps. Imagine if tomorrow China simply says, "Sorry guys, the shop is closed. Exports are halted, just for a month." Think that's sci-fi? They already did it. In 2025, China slapped tight restrictions on exporting gallium, germanium, and antimony, critical elements that the West's defense and automotive industries absolutely depend on. That was just a dress rehearsal. Next up on the chopping block is silicon. And if that happens, the global economy will instantly drop to its knees. Apple's assembly lines and automotive gigafactories will come to a grinding halt. Most investors are staring blindly at software and the latest AI models. Only a select few understand the reality. Those who control the raw supply chain, the physical foundation these technologies cannot exist without, will ultimately dictate terms to the entire market. This is exactly why the world's largest tech giants are frantically hunting for new sources of this raw material. They desperately need a plan B. And while the big players are looking at Africa and Australia, quietly, almost invisibly, the race has already begun somewhere else. That backup plan is being found right now in the mountains of Central Asia. There, ultra-pure deposits of white quartz have lain untouched for centuries. People usually think that entering this sector requires a billionaire's budget. But in reality, at the early stages, during geological audits, exploration, and licensing, the cost of entry for certain projects can be significantly lower than most imagine. You don't need billions or hundreds of millions of dollars to get started. It's just that most investors focus on the end-user tech, and very few pay attention to the raw material that makes it all possible. But in a couple of years, when the global shortage reaches a breaking point, these assets will be valued on an entirely different scale. So where exactly is this backup plan located? And why do most investors keep staring at Silicon Valley, when the answer lies literally in the soil of Central Asia, in mountains that most people can't even find on a map? And if you are already looking at this region for investment, seeking promising mining claims, or interested in acquiring extraction licenses, our direct contacts and official email are listed in the description below and on our profile page. Reach out to us. Our team is open to serious business proposals. This was AskCat. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next part of this story, because more on that will be in the next episode. See you there.